Hello. Good morning. So today's gonna be a bit of a short stream because I have a dentist appointment fairly soon. I have like a few hours. But I thought we would be able to check out this new demo that I got access to together and stuff. Hold on. What am I trying to remember to do? Oh, right, this. Isa got me to download Unite. Nice. Become an unstoppable force of this. You got good at the game that fast. I am kind of excited about this game. I got the demo key for it, I want to say like this week or so. When did I have the date right here. Yeah, I got it this week, like a few days ago. I saw the art for it and I was like, yeah, please. Yes, please. It's basically a gothic romance set in the 19th century. Following a vampire. And I think it's Yuri, at least as far as I can tell, it's Yuri. Which I'm all for. And it looks so good. Like the art looks so good. And this is from the same studios that made A Date with Death. And I liked A Date with Death. I didn't play that one, but I did watch Tia play it and I really liked it. So I'm like excited to see how this one is. An idea story pitch. An even better pitch. It said that I could play this before release. I'm not... I don't see the release date. The release date is planned for 2025, I guess. So next year. So I don't know how long the demo goes for, but we'll find out together, I guess. But it looks so good. Like the artwork looks so good. It's very similar vibes to A Death with a Death with Date, A Date with Death. But a little bit more gothic inspired, which I really love. I had launched the game, but the game ended up having like music and stuff and like artwork that like looked really good, so I like closed it immediately. I was like, no, we need to watch this together. Okay, let me see if I can get this up for everyone really quick. There you go. Isn't it pretty? Hold on, let me... Okay, it doesn't quite let me choose the... It is quite loud. Hold on. I was hoping it would let me choose the window dimensions, but I guess we'll just kind of enable this. It does look like two dudes getting it. It's two... What? But it's not. It should be two girls. At least I think so. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I thought it was two girls. I thought it was a Sapphic story. Because the... The description says follow Meike, a young woman from an impoverished noble family, as she's swept off her feet by the mysterious Magdalena, a vampire who possesses a dark secret. Right? It's definitely fun. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? I think they're both them. Isn't the artwork so pretty, though? I guess we'll just dive right into things. I think that's good volume, right? Faster, make it faster. You have to keep moving or else. Oh god, they're gaining on us. Oh, I got it to work, by the way. The TTS had nothing to do with me. It was not my fault. It was actually the TikTok TTS voices. Because I switched to other voices and it seemed to work fine. Thank you for the hip pet, Yui. Mickey ran through the forest as quickly as her legs would carry her, which, given how exhausted she felt, was not very. She tried to obey Henny's orders, fearful both of letting her friend down and of the shadowy figures which pursued them, but her body refused to listen. Her legs felt numb, insensible, as unfeeling as marble, but far weaker. Oh. It was through sheer force of will that she was able to keep going, and that alone, for all her strength, had already left her. Even as Meike ran, staggering blindly through the fog, she feared it was a lost cause. She was but a young woman, slender and, well, not so very short, quite unaccustomed to exerting herself. She was not like Henny, who spent her days on her hands and knees polishing the floors and blacking the fireplaces. Meike's fingers were white as ivory, while Henny's were red raw from demanding, often physical labor. Meike's lungs, meanwhile, were straining from the agonizing effort of running. Never before had she known that the act of merely existing could be so exhausting. Same when I run. I wonder why she's on the run, though. Make it, please. You need to hurry. Quickly, make it. Henny reached back to take hold of Meike's hands, her coarse, short fingernails digging into Meike's palms. Henny was gripping so tightly it hurt, but Meike knew, should she continue to tarry, she would be in for hurt far, far greater than this. Meike recalled how her father had looked back in their carriage, his eyes wide and his face unusually pale. Meike had never seen her father look so scared before. He was a tall, imposing figure of a man, dashing even in his early 50s, who was accustomed to issuing orders, not receiving them. Meike had thought her father immovable, much like the oak tree which shielded her family's mausoleum, which had stood there longer than the crypt itself, its trunk wide, its boughs weathered. But Meike had learnt that even her father had weaknesses. She had once thought her father a force of nature, quite impossible to argue with or to get a better of, but this supposition had been turned on its head in a mere handful of minutes. You think he got attacked by someone? For all of his bluster, Meike's father was only human. He was made of flesh and blood like Meike, and when cut, he would bleed. He had bled a lot, in fact, all over the plush, upholstered seats of their carriage and onto the floor. His fine clothes had been stained black with the stuff, and the air had stunk of it, sharp and tinny. Meike could smell her father's blood on her even now, as she and Henny raced through the forest. She couldn't forget it, however much she wished to. Oh, if only the events of that night had been nothing more than a bad dream. Meike wished that the fog would clear and she would wake, her eyelids fluttering, to discover herself sitting once more in her bed, in her home, the room flooded with pale sunlight. Meike! But Meike's surroundings did not shift. The trees continued to press in about her as though they meant to eat her alive. Oh. Their shadowy pursuers were beginning to close in on them. I wonder why. I wonder why they're being hunted. They kind of look like bandits. But if they're meant to steal, it wouldn't make sense to chase after them, I guess. Mickey couldn't outrun them no matter how she tried. She was flagging, her heart hammering in her throat. She was flagging? What does that mean? Oh, flagging. Weak, fatigued, or drooping? I guess that makes sense. Thank you, Gray. What would happen when Meike was not so optimistic to hope for an if they caught her? What would they do to Henny? The thought was almost more than Meike could bear. It had been bad enough to lose her parents, but to lose Henny too? She had done nothing wrong. Henny was no lady. She was just a maid. She was only being targeted because of her relationship to Meike and her family. Had Henny been traveling alone, she would have passed through the forest quite unscathed. It wasn't as though Henny had any valuables upon a person that were worth the effort of pilfering. Henny... Meike appealed to her maid between sharp gasps of air, which pierced her lungs as knitting needles might. Please, let go. Leave me be, I'm just slowing you down. The art does look good, right? This is like half dimmed. Imagine the full art. imagine when we get to the brightly lit areas. No, Meike, I can't do that. But there aren't any buts. I won't leave you behind. That's not what friends do. But Henny, I said there aren't any buts. Now let's keep running. Meike wanted to run, really, she did, but her body had already begun to give in. Her heart might have been pumping fit to burst at the base of her throat, but her legs were weak despite the excess blood which filled her, and her hand in Henny's felt cold and clammy. She couldn't keep going. It wasn't possible. She had exhausted all of her energies simply in escaping from the carriage where her parents' bodies lay. Now, she would die, only a few hundred paces away from their final resting place. Would her mutilated carcass be discovered in the days hence and taken back to her family's home? Would she and her parents be embalmed and sealed away within their mausoleum? Meike did not much like this thought. Her family's mausoleum was a terrifying place, full of somber stone angels and spider webs. It was quiet, being situated among tall trees, but its quietude was not at all relaxing. Mausoleums have always kind of been weird to me. I don't know. It's kind of odd that you take up so much space even after death. like I get having like a place to like, you know, like pay respects and stuff, but like, dude, some of the mausoleums were crazy. Its quiet was the deep, fathomless silence of death. Meike did not want to die. She knew not how she would continue to live on, with both her parents slaughtered before her very eyes. But she did not want to succumb as they had in this forest full of fog. She wanted to go on living, for her sake, and for Henny's, though not necessarily for Walter's. Who's Walter? Come on, they're getting closer. We need to keep running. Come on, Meike. But, like the guttering flame of a candle, the last of her energy had been expended. Meike's foot caught in a tangled tree root, which jutted from the ground like a bear trap, and she fell. Her hand, which was slick with sweat, slipped free from Henny's. Her fingers extended forth, plumbing the mist for Henny, but to little avail. Meike! Henny's voice echoed in Meike's ears, shrill and frantic alongside her own pulse. Her heart juddered in her chest, hard, as though meaning to stop altogether, but it did little good. Her head smacked against the ground with a dull, anticlimactic thud, her auburn curls strewn across the scattered leaves, the broken twigs. Meike's teeth bit against her tongue. She tasted copper. Her vision swam. Meike, oh God, Meike, get up, please, get up. That's rough. It's kind of why I'm always just like, dude, when there's a zombie apocalypse, like I would be exactly like Meike, because I can't run for shit. I'm just like, I'll just give up. Rich people doing rich people things, I guess. They add to cool undead fantasy settings. They do. Pulling off time period in her status, probably her betrothed or butler that fled with them as a subtle narrative flag of her being hella gay. Oh, true. Her betrothed would actually make a lot of sense. Because I feel like if it was a butler, she might have a little bit more feelings towards him. Unless the butler was like just... Oh God, all the words coming to my mind are probably not the best. It's just kind of... a dick. Was just really mean to her. And then everything went black. Act 1, the night that never ended. Well, I'm in jail. Well, that's not good. When Meike finally awoke, she was greeted by a dull, crushing pain that gripped her skull like a vice. A brackish taste akin to pond water filled her mouth, and with one hand clasped to her head, she coughed. Why does she know how pond water tastes like? Why does she know how pond water tastes like? I love vampire stories, so this is up my alley. I want to run a Curse of Strahd game one day. Ooh, what's that? Desperate times call for desperate water. I mean, fair. Yeah. I just think of all the bacteria, although I guess that wasn't a thing back then. Meike's body shuddered and her lungs burned. It took a minute before her coughing fit subsided, but once it did, Meike began to glance uneasily around her surroundings. She hoped that her immediate surroundings might shed some light upon her predicament, but her hopes were in vain. Meike did not recognize any of the geometry which encaged her thus. The floor upon which she is sitting, but why was she sitting on the floor, of all things, was made of stone, which felt hard and cold and uncompromising. The walls too were made of stone, as was the ceiling, which felt very far away. A wooden cot was pushed up close against one of the walls, but it was so steeped in shadows, Meike could scarcely make it out. There is a chamber pot lying by the cot, which, upon closer inspection, was empty, but its rims and sides were stained with caked-on filth. Ew. A truly unpleasant odor exuded from the chamber pot, which made Meike's eyes sting. It was fortunate that she had no immediate desire to relieve herself, for she had no desire to use this commodity. It's a D&D setting with a vampire lord who's trapped you in his domain. It's one of my favorites and I still haven't run it. That sounds so cool, Lime. Did you pick up Van Richten's guide? Has some more horror-themed monsters as well as inspo for creating your own domains of dread like Barovia. One of my characters uses the spirit medium background from that book. That's so cool. I love that. You have to keep us posted if you do end up running that campaign. A quick examination of the room, though really it was more like a cell, showed Mickey that, save for the cot and the chamber pot, was utterly desolate. There was no other furniture to be seen, no shelves, nor cupboards, nor even a proper bed. There was no mirror either, so Mickey could not see herself. But perhaps this was a blessing in disguise. Mickey doubted that she would be at her best now, being so very in pain and so very exhausted. She was so cold she could feel goosebumps rippling across her flesh, and her teeth were chattering badly. Mickey wound her arms around her middle and shivered sadly. It was not only the chamber pot that stunk. The very air itself was rank, heavy with the stench of unwashed bodies and general decay. This room, this cell, reeked of death. How had she come to such a place? I don't know if Henny is held in a cell next door or something, or if Henny was able, or if Henny just kept running. I shall for sure. Let's go. I'm excited to hear about it. What had happened to her? Mickey could remember sitting alongside her mother and her father in their carriage as it bore them through the forest, and then there, at this most pivotal of moments, her memories failed her. Mickey could recall nothing else. Now what was she to do? I guess when she hit her head earlier, she probably knocked out a few memories, huh? Had her parents been there, they would have given her instructions. They always seemed to know what Mickey ought to be doing at any given time, but they were not there, and neither was Henny. Mickey was all alone. Henny had been with her, Mickey was certain, before... Before what? Why could she not remember anything? Mickey thought sorrowfully. If only she was made of stone, then perhaps her head would not hurt so much. It really did feel that her skull might explode. Not from the pain, though the pain still remained, but from raw, unbridled fear. Mickey had often dreamed of stealing away her parents' home to embark upon a brand new life, unfettered by expectations, but she had never wished for this. Tears began to trickle down Mickey's cheeks in crystalline droplets. They scored tracks in the dirt which caked her cheeks and dropped, one by one, to the floor upon which she sat. Man, I feel bad for her. This is sad, poor pretty lady, right? Her head bowed, fingers splayed against the stones. Mickey sobbed, and she sobbed, until... Oh, I don't know what voice to do for this one. What is going on? A soft voice spoke from amongst the teeming shadows. Mickey could not see the speaker. She could scarcely see at all, given the darkness and now her own tears. But she recognized its familiar cadences. Oh, I should have known. The voice belonged to Henny, her darling Henny. Mickey's dear friend was here too, in the stone cell which smelt of death. And though Mickey feared for Henny, she felt relief too, bubbling up inside her. She was not alone after all. Henny? Mickey crawled forth on her hands and knees, being too exhausted to stand, and stared into the shadows. Henny, is that you? Mickey? Henny replied after a pause, for the voice, though languorous, belonged to her quite unmistakably. There came a rustle from the darkness of shifting cloth, perhaps a skirt, as Henny sat. Oh, they're in the same? Into the... Okay, well... Okay, at least they're in the same cell. I thought she was gonna be, like, in a different cell. A shaft of moonlight spilled through the singular barred window, hewn high into the wall of their cell, and finally Meike was offered it a view of her maid. Though Christian Henrique, Meike had always called her beloved maid Henny. It seemed a more appropriate appellation for so cheery a woman, for Henny, come rain or shine, was rarely seen without a smile. Henny was not smiling now, however. She was sitting upon the wooden cot which Meike had first spied during her brief examination of her surroundings. What she had taken at first for a crumpled blanket must have been the body of her own dear maid, obscured from her by the shifting shadows. I don't know how I would feel if someone mistaken me for a pile of crumpled blankets. The other lady is so pretty. She has my partner's face shape. Oh, beautiful. She's so pretty. I love how the lips are done on this artwork. And the eyes are so pretty. I'm good catching up on art. So much art. I'm 18 hours. Oh, let's go. What are you working on now, Lime? Infinite art if you think about it. Henny's face looked woefully weary, and it had lost much of its usual pinkness. Her apron, once white, now stained and sullied with dirt. Henny's shoes had been black and sensible, but now they were mired in filth, and her socks were rucked up about her ankles. Henny's eyes were wide, and displayed so much white her irises seemed lost in them. This lent her a startled look, like a small woodland animal. A look which was heightened further by her knotted, tangled tresses. I was just about to say she kind of looks like a deer or like a really scared rabbit. In the most loving way. Henny's hands, which she held at her front clasped together, were trembling like those of a woman thrice her age. Henny looked an awful sight, but Meike knew she could hardly have been any better herself. Henny's hair might have been a mess, but at least she kept it short. There's not very much of Henny's dark tresses to be worked into a state of disorder. Meike's own hair, meanwhile, was very long and curly, and though she had worn it in a... How do you pronounce that? I always see that word and I just kind of like glaze over it in my head when I'm reading, but like I never really learned how to say it. Jinyan? Interesting, not how I would have pronounced it. But I also did not make the language. This one? Google says it sounds weird. Xinyan? I'm working on Drawing catch up. I did day 1, then yesterday did day 5, and then went back with... Oh, nice! Are you... Which one are you on now then? Are you caught up or close to catching up? She could now feel it strangling loosely about her shoulders. I will say that is like one very true statement. When I had... It's French, so weird is a fair true. I'm on 4. The prompt was BLT. The B is for bugs. You decide the rest. So I did Bugs Love Tea and drew an NPC from my D&D campaign. Autumn, Eladrin, Swarmkeeper, Ranger, Sport Druid, who has butterflies all around her and she's drinking tea. These butterflies are also her spice, so this works into... I love that! Wait! That's so good. Sorry for the wall? No, don't be sorry at all. I love that. My health ain't important, my life is important. Your health is important. I'm not taking any arguments. Love Eladrin. Dang, I learned about them recently after listening to like a campaign. That's my only experience with D&D. I had to look them up because I was like, what is that? And they look so pretty. That's fair, they're not common depending on the campaign. Oh, are they not? I didn't know if they were common or not. I thought they were common. I meant my only experience with D&D in general. I don't play with anyone, I just listen to other people's campaigns. The back of her neck prickled, either from the cold or from a dislodged hairpin or two. Perhaps that was why Henny stared at Meike so. Once she had regained her sense of equilibrium, as though she had seen a ghost. My god, Meike. Henny looked so alarmed, Meike almost felt ashamed. Meike was no stranger to shame. She felt it frequently, in fact, when she was with her mother, but it rarely raised its ugly head in Henny's presence. Since Meike's girlhood, Henny had been her one staunch, steadfast companion. She was the only person Meike knew who took Meike for who she was, rather than wishing, often aloud to her face, that she could be more appreciative, more amenable, more effusive, more like a lady, and less like herself. Henny did not want Meike to be more. She only wanted Meike to be Meike. Did that mean then that Meike did not look like Meike in that moment? But who else did she resemble if not herself? They're like ancient elves unaffected by the material plane who have a greater connection to nature in Feywild, their home plane. I'm curious which campaign you were listening to. Oh, I was I was listening to the Legends of Evantris, but I was listening to the Yuletide episode. So the special Yuletide episode, the supposed one shot. And there was one where like you turn into an Eladrin. So I was just like, I don't even know what that is. The unbridled chaos, yeah. I was dying. I think that was like one of the few rare campaigns where I was actually just like laughing out loud. Because it was so chaotic. Oh hey, she's pretty, right? Everyone in this, that at least so far from what I've seen, has been really pretty. The vampire is also really pretty. I feel like you'd really love her, Kim. I shipped these ladies so hard I've just got here. Now there's gonna be more too. What had happened to her? Are you right, Mickey? Oh, look at your poor face. Henny rose from the wooden cot, which creaked and crouched before her friend. Reaching out, still shaking, she cupped Mickey's cheeks in her fingers and said, "You're bleeding." "I am?" "Yes. You've a nasty cut beneath your right eye and your cheek." Henny sucked in a breath, her expression grim. "It's all banged up. You're positively black and blue." "Oh, I hadn't realized. I'm sorry, Henny." "What?" Henny, who had procured a handkerchief from her skirt pocket, it fortunately was devoid of dirt, paused in her dabbing at Meike's face to look at Meike with bemusement. "Why are you apologizing to me, you daft goose? You've done nothing to feel sorry for." I don't know. I'm just... Sorry for making you worry, I suppose. Oh, think not of it. Not, right? It's my job to worry about you. I'm your maid, remember? Well, of course I remember that much. My thoughts might be in a state of disarray for the present, but I would never forget you. You're much more than my maid, Henny. You're my friend, too. My dearest friend. And I could very well say the same about you. That's why it hurts seeing you in such a frightful state. Do I look so very bad? Well, now... Penny cast her gaze over Maykay's face, her brown eyes brightening with familiar mischief as she did. That depends on how honest you want me to be. Oh dear. Do I look as bad as all that? You've certainly looked better. Your face is as banged up as a windfall apple. An apple? Maykay shook her head in wonderment. I only hope that the apple isn't ridden with worms. No. Daft goose, that's what my grandparents used to say when someone was being a dummy. Really? That's kind of cute. I don't think I've actually heard anyone say daft goose, like, in person. I don't think you're anything to worry about on that score, at least. Well, that is a relief. I suppose things could always be worse. Right you are. That's the spirit. You're still alive, and so am I. And we're together. That ought to count for something. Although... Henny finished wiping the worst of the congealed blood and dirt from Maykay's cheek, then drew back, her soiled kerchief gripped tight in her hand. Her expression newly dour, she said after a moment's pause, I am afraid that your parents may have been so fortunate. What? Maykay's heart leapt in her chest at the somber announcement. What happened to them, Henny? Do you know what's going on? You don't? I recall that we were traveling to Augsburg to visit my fiancé, but as far as how we came here... Yeah, I think you're right, Gray. I think Walter maybe is the fiancé. Let's all work to bring Daft Goose back into the common language. That's much cuter. My parents would just say they're full of beans. Wait, that one's so cute also. Wait, those are so cute. I want to bring both of those back into the common language. My family have had weird phrases for things, but one half are British and the other Newfie. Oh. That's kind of cute though. At least I think it's cute. Maykay closed her eyes in the hope of remembering something, but again nothing came. Her mind remained stubbornly blank, as featureless as a snow-capped mountain, all flora, blanketed in untrammeled whiteness. That's a really good way. Can I go back? That's such a good, like... Such a good sentence. As featureless as a snow-capped mountain, all flora blanketed in untrammeled whiteness. Good writing, all right. I'm afraid I am drawing a blank. I cannot remember. Not a single thing? Nothing. I see. Henny grit her teeth together for a few moments, her eyes dark. She seemed to be weighing up her words, as a baker might measure out flour and sugar before speaking. That's not such a surprise, I suppose. You hit your head pretty hard back there. It might be for the best that you can't remember all of the glory details. I wish I could forget what happened myself, but... Henny's voice trailed away, as awkwardly she gripped her kerchief. That kerchief had been the only clean thing in Meike and Henny's cell, but now it too was ruined, streaked with brown and red. How deep was the cut that Meike had sustained, and how much had she bled? This too remained a mystery. Meike did not know. There seemed much all of a sudden she was ignorant of. She felt so very unworldly, she might as well have been a little girl again, enthused after she had successfully stolen the key to her family's mausoleum. Meike had not known, as she stood in the chill entrance of the mausoleum, that she was about to lower herself into a subterranean world of death and decay, though part of her had wondered. Henny... Meike took Henny's hand in her own, her fingernails cracked, discolored, and dusted with dirt digging into her skin. What happened? Tell me, please. I want to know. Yes, I thought you might. That does make things a mite complicated, though. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. Just... Henny looked to Meike beneath half-lidded eyes, her expression distressed, uncommonly pale and pinched. Promise you won't take against me for what I'm about to tell you. I've gone through a lot tonight already, and that would be the straw to break the camel's back. Henny, please. You should know that's a trivial concern. I'm fully aware that none of this is your fault. You only have ever sought to protect me. I have no better friend than you. Not in all the world. And it's precisely because I want to protect you that I don't want to go into all this. Oh wait, no, sorry. It's precisely because I want to protect you that I don't want to go into all this. I know it'll upset you. Christ. It upsets me too. It's an upsetting situation all around. It's rotten, really, what people are capable of. But... Henny, perhaps sensing her own distress, paused. She inhaled. Then in a calmer tone, she said, "Just how much do you want to know, Meike? How much is there to know?" Oh, I remember everything. I'll always remember tonight, I expect. It made quite the impression. Horrible things always do. Oh dear. Are things truly that dire? They're pretty bad, yes. Give me an abridged account then. I have no need to hear everything. Right you are. Henny bowed her head in acquiescence, her face half swallowed by the shadows. The band of light which had penetrated their drab cell had long since been extinguished, the moon obscured beneath a rolling fog. It was so cold in their cell, Meike could not cease her shivers. Even her teeth felt cold, like shards of ice implanted into her gums. Henny's proximity served as something of a comfort, but it could not rid Meike of her trepidation. She knew, once Henny relayed the past events to her, Her life would no longer be the same. Everything would change. It was changing already, in fact, so quickly that Mickey hardly had a chance to gather her bearings. She felt lost, adrift, and hopelessly afraid. I am sorry to tell you this, Mickey, but during our travels, the carriage, it was attacked by bandits. Oh, there were bandits. What? No. Yes. They came creeping out from the fog like, I don't know, monsters from a children's story, maybe, but much scarier. They waylaid the carriage, then stormed it. They drew out their daggers and threatened your father, and when he refused to comply, well, Penny's expression twisted. They stabbed him. What? Mickey drew in a sharp inhalation of air, her whole body tensing. She had expected as much before Henny began her gruesome tale, but the news still shook her. Evidently, she had not been half so prepared to hear the worst as she had imagined. Oh, God. Not my papa. My poor papa. I don't know, I can't take Papa seriously just because I don't even know where I got it from. Just from me, like, joking around with that word. But that's just a me thing. Don't tell me he didn't. I'm sorry, but... Then he sniffed. It's as if you're probably suspecting. His wound was a deep one and he died. Dead? My papa dead? Dead as a doornail, I'm afraid. I didn't hang around to see what had happened, but... Well... It happened so quick, I don't think he suffered, at least. And my mama? What of her? Don't tell me she also... Henny did not reply, but the discomfort which crossed her face left Mickey with no doubts as to her mother's fate. In one brief night, both of Mickey's parents had been slaughtered. Now, she was an orphan. And what of us, Henny? How did we escape? I find it hard to believe the bandits would just let us go. Oh, I'm sure we would have joined your parents if we sat still like good little girls, but I didn't want to do that. I took your hand while they were busy with your mother, and we ran away. We fled through the woods, but the bandits took chase pretty darn quick. It was very dark, and the fog was thick, and I could hardly see what was happening. At one point you tripped and you fell, and that's how you got that nasty cut on your poor forehead, and I was dragged down with you. We lay there on the ground, in the dirt, while the bandits tramped about looking for us. I figured we were both a couple of goners. I'd started to say my prayers to the Lord Almighty, but then... We survived. Yes, we survived. This, Mickey suppose, was not such a surprise. It went without saying, really, that they had survived. Otherwise, they would not have been sitting in this ghastly cell speaking to one another. Either the bandits had spared them, which seemed unlikely, or somebody had come to their defense. Who would have been wandering the woods so very late at night, however? Mickey could hardly credit it. Their escape must have been the stuff fantasies were made of. Do you know how we escaped, Henny? I know what my eyes saw, but if my eyes can be trusted or not, well... That's another matter altogether. I think I might have bumped my head myself. It was also peculiar. At the time, it seemed like a miracle. But looking back on it, that ain't the right word. Miracle suggests God and all his angels, but there was not wholly about this. It was a right proper mess, really. A total bloodbath. Blood? Yes, there was blood, and lots of it. It's hard for me to explain, but all I know is one moment we were sprawled upon the dirt, you unconscious, I half out of my mind with fright as the bandits approached, and then the next, they were gone. Gone? But where and how? Did they run away? Not necessarily, not of their own free will, like the fog parted, you see, and then this figure, this woman, she appeared so quick, it was like she'd sprung up from the earth. She wasn't very tall, and I don't think she was, at least, and she was very skinny, but the way she looked, the way she moved, there was something unnatural about her. No, I know, right? Whole life changing, literally, just in a blink of an eye in the night. I didn't get a very good look at what happened next, but I saw her go after those bandits. I think there were at least 4 of them, but that woman soon took care of them. There was so much blood and a lot of mud. It stunk to high heaven, it did. Brought tears to my eyes. That woman, though, the woman in white, she didn't seem fussed at all. She stood there when she had finished beneath the moon, like nothing had happened. And then Henny pressed her fingers to her brow and, overwhelmed, shook her head. I don't remember not after that. I think I must have fainted. When I finally woke up, I found myself here. It was your crying that woke me up. I've never been able to rest easy while you're in tears, Meike. Yes, I know. You've always been so good and so kind. Thank you, Henny. Meike chanced to smile, though the muscles about her mouth felt atrophied, worn away following the news of her parents' demise and her own near brush with the Reaper's scythe. I have no idea what I would do without you. It sounds like you saved me. From the bandits, I suppose I did. But I wasn't much use when you took that nasty spill. There's no way I would have been able to carry you to safety, not when we were all turned about in the woods and I had no idea where we were. I think I scraped my own shin too. My ankle aches. We'd been goners if that woman hadn't appeared. But now that I'm talking about it, it doesn't sound real. I can't think of any woman who'd been able to beat 4 men in the test of strength. Not even your own Mademoiselle Blanchard. It's tough losing a parent, but 2, right? 2 in front of your eyes? Meike's smile widened at this, despite the severity of the situation, and she found, to her surprise, she was even able to laugh. It was a weak laugh, which contained little in the way of mirth, but it was sincere. Henny never failed to cheer her up. She must have had a knack for it. Meike was too old to believe in magic, but when she was with Henny, she sometimes wondered. Are you sure it was a woman who fended off those bandits? Perhaps it was some sort of animal instead, and you failed to perceive it in the fog. That could be it, Like I said, my mind's a mess. I feel like I've lost a good 10 years off of my life. Although... Here, Henny smiled grimly, in the manner of all survivors after witnessing something horrid. That's better than having it cut short altogether. We must be thankful for small mercies, yes? Even if our lives are saved at my parents' expense. Meike squeezed her eyes shut. She could feel tears beating upon her lashes anew, but this time she was able to subdue them. The news of her parents' death was a heavy burden to bear, but Meike, not having witnessed their final moments, found it hard to imagine. It still did not seem quite real, despite the rawness of Henny's account. The shock of it all, perhaps, had blunted her senses. It could take a while for her parents' passings to truly register. When it did, however, Meike did not doubt the tears would come, thicker and faster than before. Really not giving women enough credit, right? It's okay. Once she sees her, I bet she'll be like, yep, I understand. It had not always been so, but her childhood misadventures in her family's crypt had left her something of a crybaby. It was fortunate she had Henny by her side to dry her eyes. What would she have done without her trusty maid? Now then... Meike inhaled, her chest rising beneath her torn gown, and glanced about. Where do you suppose we are? And how do you suppose we got here? That's a good question. I've been wondering that too ever since we awoke. It's not the nicest of digs, is it? Not particularly, no. It's awfully drab. And it's damp too. I'm freezing. You poor thing, you come here. Henny shifted closer to Meike, then drew her arms about her, holding her close so as to protect her from the frigid air. Henny glanced about her, as did Meike. She squinted into the shadows, as though they might reveal more than they had upon her initial inspection, namely the wooden cot and the chamber pot beside it. But to Meike's disappointment, she found the cell quite unchanged. It was every bit as sparse as she recalled. The shadows did little to mask this fact, and still it stank. Goodness me, it's not much to look at, is it? Might as well be in a prison cell. I think that might be what this is. Henny drew back from Meike, her legs crossed beneath her upon the stone floor, and frowned. I reckon you're right. I wonder who brought us here. You and me both. It was nice of our mysterious benefactor, or benefactress, to rescue us, though they can't be all that kind if they're going to let us suffer in here. You'd think they could have at least put us up in a nicer room. I'm not expecting first-class accommodations, but you deserve much better than this, Meike. This place isn't fit for rats, let alone people. It's alright. It's better than being dead, at least, even if these lodgings are a mite uncomfortable. You think she's a crybaby ever since both her parents died? That's quite a lot for someone to handle. Of course you would cry, poor me. Oh no, I think she's talking about her, like when she was a kid she had wandered down the mausoleum. Like her family's mausoleum. I think that's what she was talking about. I could be wrong though. Only a mite? Well, Meike corrected herself with a smile. Like to bed if I'm being honest. Meike drew her arms about her legs, her knees beneath her chin, and said, When I woke up, I was lying on the floor. On the floor? Henny's eyebrows shot up from her forehead until they met her hairline. The gesture was so exaggerated it managed to bring another smile to Meike's lips, despite how very dire their situation was. I suppose it makes sense there being only one bed, but oh, that is too much. I can't believe they fling you about like a sack of sawdust. Many unbelievable things had happened tonight. Our benefactor must have been bucking the trend. Some benefactor, when I get my hands on them, I'll give them what for. Don't, Henny, it wouldn't do to pick a fight with whomever brought us here. I wouldn't want to anger them, not when we're at their mercy. What? But that makes us sound like captives. Is that not what we are? This is a cell, after all, and we have no means of escaping. We're being treated as prisoners. I know, but it still stings. I don't care about me, but I don't want to see you being treated like a convict. Not when you've been through so much. You've been through worse. At least I don't remember what happened, unlike you. And you're the one who will be saddled with the consequences, poor Meike. It was your parents, not mine, who were... Well... I don't suspect there's much point in trying to suss out who's suffering more than who. As it stands, we're both in this together. I won't abandon you, Meike, so try not to worry. Keep your chin up. Won't get through this. Thank you, Henny. I almost believe it coming from you. You should. I don't say things I don't mean, you know? Now let's see. Maybe things aren't as dire as they look. There could be a way to escape yet. Henny rose to her feet, though unsteadily, and did a circuit of the cell. The shadows made it seem larger than it was, for they obscured the walls, but it did not take Henny many steps to canvass the full length of the dingy room. She pressed her fingertips to the walls, then her ear, as though the stonework might whisper unto her their weaknesses. But her efforts were in vain. The walls held firm, as did the steely slats which crisscrossed the entrance. Henny took the bars between her fingers and squeezed experimentally, but they refused to yield. Oh, come on! Oh, frustrated now, Henny gave the bars a kick. The tip of her shoe collided with them, loosing clods of dirt beneath her soles. But damn it all! The bars, as before, did not budge. They were quite impermeable. Sighing, Henny soon changed tack. She moved from the door to glance up at the window, but this was similarly barred, too high up to reach and much too small to squeeze through. It seemed a miracle almost, the window being so mean, allowed any moonlight at all to spill into the cell when the clouds and the fog shifted. And? Meike asked when a disenchanted Henny flopped back down beside her with a rustle of her skirts. Did you uncover anything? Naffall, except that we were more trapped than I thought. I thought you might have come to that conclusion, yes. God. Henny kicked off her right shoe, then began to massage her feet, which had begun to throb. Oh. This is a rum situation. I wonder what we're to do. I don't think there is much we can do other than wait. I suppose you're right. I can't say I like the thought of that, though. We're sitting ducks here. I feel we ought to be taking some kind of action. Henny looked about the cell once more, then sighed. But I'm drawing a blank here. I can't think of anything we could do. I'm sorry for being so hopeless, Meike. I meant to look after you, but I'm at a total loss. Don't apologize, dear Henny. I feel better simply being with you. That's something at least. I wish I could be of some real use though. You are of real use. Without you, I'd be an unconscionable mess, weeping on the floor. Well, we can't be having that. It breaks my heart to see you cry. Much as it breaks mine to see yourself flagellate so over something that is not your fault. Touché. Now that we're well and truly stuck here, I suppose we ought to make the best of it, although I have a bad feeling about this place. It gives me the creeps. Now Henny is beating herself up. Her poor ladies. I don't know who imprisoned us here or what cause, but they've no manners to speak of. Why, it's almost as if... Oh, well, that's not good. Henny began, but she found herself unable to finish the sentence. A sound issued forth from the darkness, emitting from beyond their tightly sealed cell. It was a faint sound, like that of far-off rain, but Henny still heard it, the sour air being so still and silent. It sounded like a scream. Good God! Henny sat up straighter, her fingers digging into her arches, her eyes alert. What in the world was that? I suppose that was just the wind. You really think so? Yes, I imagine. Mickey answered in the affirmative, though deep down both she and Henny knew the truth. That had not been the wind at all. It had been too raw, too pained, too, though faint, unmistakably human. There are other cells, or so it seemed, besides theirs, where others were incarcerated, others whom, right now, were being tortured by unknown hands. Mickey could feel the fine hairs on the back of her neck standing up. Her body, which felt constrained by her stays, quivered. All she could do was sit there, her legs pressed to her chest like a fitful young girl, as she murmured, more for her own benefit than Henny's. Unknown hams? We need to call in Hunts. It was the wind, that's all it is. It's the wind. It's nothing to worry about, it's nothing really. Everything will be fine. Oh, I was hoping that we could get to the vampire lady. I want to see her, but I have to go. I have to go, so I'm not late for my appointment. I will continue this. I don't know how long the demo is actually, to be honest, but like I do want to see at least like the vampire lady and stuff. Let me see. Wait, womp womp, I know. Four to 8 hours of reading. Is that the full game though, or is that the demo? I highly doubt the demo would be that long, right? I really like the soundtrack though. I think the music is like really good for this game so far. I'm gonna laugh if the next time I start this up and the vampire lady's gonna show up in the next scene. I like the save system. Act 1, dereliction. Dereliction. Oh, there's so many save pages. How many branches are there going to be for me to have to consider that much? It does say that there's like branching routes and stuff. Let me see, where is it? I guess for those of y'all with me still. Okay, so here, let me read what I have. So the features are 95,000 words of text, approximately 4 to 8 hours of reading, a kinetic story with... Oh, sorry. I lied. A kinetic story with no choices or branches. Okay, so it's pretty It's pretty straightforward. It's a pretty straightforward visual novel. A haunting original soundtrack. One aloof, austere vampire. A cute maid. An optional R18 patch. Excuse. Just Noom from A to B. Yeah, just Noom from A to B. Oh man, I'm excited. So we got through, yeah, we got through the whole story. I think just the last line we haven't gotten to yet, which is basically, or the last two paragraphs. So on the store page, the store page, the last two that we haven't quite gotten to the story that we haven't quite gotten to yet is this castle, as Meike soon discovers, belongs to a young woman named Magdalena, short of stature with flowing fair hair. Magdalena looks like a sweet, innocent thing, but there's more to her than meets the eye. Magdalena is in fact a vampire, and now she has Meike in her clutches. It seems unlikely that Meike will ever be able to escape. Optional, yeah, optional. I won't be playing that on stream, but that'd be fun. It's like the date with death, right? I think date with death also had like R18 patch as well that you could get, or like was it more of a DLC? I think from the store page, I thought Magdalena was gonna be tall. Well, for those of you who are interested, let me just add this to, where's the link? Since I'm on the page already anyway, share. For those of you who are interested, that's the store page for this game. If you want more spooky romance novels, the demo for Touchstarved. Oh, is it out? Okay, no, Touchstarved has been on my wish list for like the longest time. I also want to check that one out, so you can check that one out. Also, like if you guys scroll through the screenshots and stuff, there's some of the characters there that I'm just like, very right up my alley. So I will be back on Thursday. I will be back streaming at normal times. I will have the form still up for the week. Vampire League, right? Got me feeling things. The forum for suggestions on creepypastas to read or horror games to play will be up for the remainder of the week. Or the whole of next week, I guess, really. So I will be taking a look through that probably next weekend. So you guys have time to drop in your suggestions. You guys are also able to do the form as many times as you guys want if you guys have multiple suggestions. And I also did put up the poll for movie night in the watch party section. So some of them are rated R. So for if those end up getting picked, I will walk them to just 18 plus for that day. I know most of us are already 18 plus, but it's just, you know, extra precaution just in case. What else? I just got the nod emote back. So I will also post an announcement for that soon. So that's 2 out of the 3 chat emotes that I got back. I think the third one just got started too, so hopefully I'll be able to get that one soon. Magdalena is dangerous, right? When I opened up the email, I was like, oh, hello. What's your name? What's this about? And I think that's all the announcements I really have. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are. Thank you guys for hanging out and checking out this demo with me. We'll continue on, see how far we get. Hopefully hit the vampire later in our next playthrough. The Skyward Walk. we'll continue on our spooky celebrations. I'll be playing horror-themed games all through the month, and we'll have a Halloween/horror movie night every Monday for all of October. So hopefully we'll be able to hang out there as well. But yeah, if you're going to bed soon, I hope you have a great night's rest, sweet dreams. And if it's not nighttime for you, or if you don't plan on going to bed anytime soon, then I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully I will see you guys on Thursday or Monday, actually, for the movie night. But if not, then I will see you guys next time. I hope you guys stay kind to yourself and to others like you guys always do. And I will see y'all later.